I manifested this. You can't hold me, bro. I called it too. I sold the show. Don't ever doubt my expertise. I'm on the flow and told you so. Yeah, baby, yeah. I told you so, I told you so. Guys, I've been saying all my life, I've been saying what I know fights will make the most sense for Islam's legacy. And the UFC, I'm critical of the UFC. And I will say Kamaru Usman's not the most deserving welterweight. The only reason I'm happy about this and I'm saying I told you so and I'm having my I told you so moment is because I know this does the most for Islam's legacy if he beats Kamaru Usman. I don't care about him beating Michael Morales, so we're going to get into this interview where he said that the UFC isn't really interested in him. He didn't really say it, but he hinted at it, saying the UFC has other plans for Morales, and I feel like that's appropriate. Listen, Usman's a company man, When he was champion, he was carrying the UFC on his back, entertaining title fights, finishes, damn near fight of the year contenders with Colby Covington twice, knocking out Jorge Masvidal, the performance against Gilbert Burns. He done his due diligence. The UFC appreciates it now. For the people who are going to cry over this, cry over a little bit spilled milk, hey, but Kenny, but he just beat Buckley, and Buckley was only on like a 7-fight win streak and was on a win streak ever since leaving middleweight and having great fights with people. Why does that give you a title shot? Why not? Why not, in my opinion, Buckley, the difference between Usman's last win and Morales' last win is that they're both great wins. Sean Brady's a great win. Of course, Sean Brady got finished by Bilal, and I feel like people are going to start to say that didn't age well. I think Sean Brady is still a great fighter. I think that was a great win for Morales that I didn't see coming. The Buckley fight, people are forgetting Buckley was a favorite. Morales was the favorite against for Sean Brady, first of all, but Buckley was a favorite against Usman. Usman was supposed to be that guy. Oh, he taking 2 years off, and he lost to Hamza at last fight, as if that's a bad thing. I just watched back that fight today, by the way. People are sleeping on Kamaru Usman, I think it's funny how much people are sleeping, but I like it. I always like watching people sleep on someone who they should not be sleeping on, but they're doubting Usman, and Usman's win against Buckley is still being overlooked because everyone's just saying, yeah, but Buckley sucks. Like Kobe sucked, Ruzaboyev sucks, all these guys that Buckley beat suck in my opinion. They don't suck. Oh, Wonder Boy sucks. Wonder Boy's only a good win for Shavkat, but for Buckley, it doesn't count because Buckley knocked out Wonder Boy, and that's not as cool because anyone can knock out a great striker like Wonder Boy. There's so many mixed reactions when people are trying to discredit Buckley, which I think is funny, and I don't really care. Like, I know people are gonna do it because they don't want Usman to get respect, so I don't really care about that. You don't have to think Buckley's a good win. Sure, it's one streak, you can act like a shit. You're saying you can say what you want. At the end of the day, Buckley, if he was gonna win, was guaranteed a title shot, but he lost. And the guy who should be guaranteed now, in my opinion, was Usman. But like I said, on paper, I still think Morales is a little bit more deserving. With his almost undefeated record. But I'm stalling a little bit. I just wanted to just have my I told you so moment. I told you so. And let me show you guys why I know Usman's next. This is an interview by Morales. In the interview, he pretty much talks about what the UFC's plans are with him, because the UFC does have plans for him. And this is what he said the plans are. I'll let the video play. There's some subtitles here, I'm pretty sure.
Esperamos ahorita el 20-0 que se viene. Ojalá sea la oportunidad por el cinturón, que ya estamos en ese tema metidos. No se sabe si peleamos en junio o un poquito antes, dependiendo del rival, pero ya estamos como que avanzando en el tema de pelear ya.
Vi que mencionaste por ahí en alguna entrevista a Jack de la Madalena. ¿Es algo que tú quieres, que te gustaría, o ya es algo que el UFC por ahí te comentó?
Me comentaron una posible pelea contra él, marzo o abril, pero luego salieron con lo de que también querían que yo peleara en enero, pero en enero pues yo no quería pelear tampoco. Simplemente le dije que quería las vacaciones, descansar bien, y muy aparte pues creo que también le habían propuesto a Makhachev la pelea en enero y tampoco quiso.
They did not propose Makhachev. The easiest way to catch a liar is when they say something, look at how their vision adverts. The second he mentioned Makhachev, he just looks to the left. He's like, oh yeah, and they also talking to me about Makhachev. Oh yeah, but I said yeah. Just look at his face when he mentions Makhachev.
Descansar bien, y muy aparte pues creo que también le habían propuesto a Makhachev la pelea en enero y tampoco quiso aceptar. Estábamos de acuerdo en eso, en que en enero nadie quería pelear. Pero ahora en junio, julio, a lo mejor y sí. Y si me dan la pelea contra Magdalena, mejor. Una pelea más de experiencia. Y si es con Makhachev, también la voy a aceptar. No tengo problema.
I respect this. And this, you can kind of see here that Morales is not even opposed to like fighting Jack Della Maddalena, just because I'll tell you guys why. I think he understands that he kind of needs more experience, which is why he kind of hinted at the end. You know, during the thing he was saying, they told me about a possible fight with JDM for March or April, but now this may be July, June, because he did say he wanted to take some vacation. If you're reading the subtitles, like he wants a little bit of time off, which I don't mind. He's still young. He doesn't need to rush anything. I actually think it'd be stupid if he's one of those people who rushes stuff and like rushes into stuff he shouldn't be rushing into. But yeah, that being said, I feel like, you know, I don't know if the UFC was going to reward him if he fought early or something, but I think Morales made the right choice. If he doesn't, I know he didn't really take any injuries against Sean Brady, but who are we to say? Like, we don't really know what he's going on behind the scenes and all that, so I don't mind that. He also said that if I get a fight against Maddalena, even better, one more fight and gain experience, which I agree with. He should probably gain experience before going there with Islam Makhachev, because I think he's going to get washed by Islam Makhachev, especially if he was up next. I think everyone knows this deep down. I think everyone's going to act like it's a great win. For about 1 day or 2 days, or depending on how Islam does him. I always say this, like, if Islam goes in there and does to Morales what I know he's going to do to him, take him down and submit him, they're going to be like, oh, well, he's unproven. This is the perfect time. The dangerous thing about this is I actually think Jack Della Maddalena could beat Morales, and I actually think he would beat Morales. Like, Morales is a big guy who uses his size to be physically imposing, but I know JDM can scrap for 5 rounds straight. Bilal and him had a crazy, absurd pace, and he was keeping up with Bilal, and Bilal's known for great cardio, and he was arguably out cardioing Bilal. So I like, if he takes this opportunity, I'm letting him know right now, it's the last opportunity he's gonna take. Like, he's not gonna beat Jack Della Maddalena, but I respect him for having the balls to do it. But I just see Jack Della Maddalena, if it's like a 5-round fight night, which it probably should be, I can see him just getting him out of there. You know, 3-rounder, I still think JDM beats him. Like, JDM's just a lot better of a striker. I think Morales kind of relies on explosivity and power, was that JDM relies on just technical standpoint, defensive ability. He's actually very defensively responsible with that high guard. It's just going to be a hard time for Morales. Morales could maybe size mog him and try to go in there and just physicality mog him and just fucking start throwing. But I just don't think he has a skill to match with Jack Della Maddalena. So if he takes this fight against someone who's pretty well-rounded in JDM, I see JDM schooling him, but let's see what happens. You know, I doubted him against Sean Brady. To be fair, Sean Brady's nowhere near the striker of Jack Della Maddalena. And JDM's not one to grapple, but I feel like if JDM wanted to use grappling, I think he might have the grappling advantage. And this one, I think JDM's like, he's underrated in this BJJ, man. I feel like the Islam fight showed his defensive ability, but I feel like against Morales, he could show more to his game. JDM's a good fight. I think people might take the Islam fight and think like, oh, well, if Islam beats him, that means he sucks. Like, that'd be the worst thing to do. If you guys are trying to underrate JDM just because what Islam did to him, you're undermining how good Islam Makhachev is. And this all comes down to experience, I feel like. I feel like everyone deep down knows that Morales is nowhere near experienced as like a Kamaru Usman. So if Usman were to get a title fight against Islam, like if Islam beats Usman, then we're not gonna be like, oh, well, Usman wasn't experienced enough. Usman is Usman, guys. Like, especially after watching that Hamza fight, dude, I'm very excited for what that fight would be. And this is why I also like, I'm pretty certain that they're gonna do Usman versus Islam. If this wasn't already a giveaway, because this happened today. This is already a giveaway, but before this happened today, the UFC posted something, and I posted it immediately because I was like, I see what the UFC is doing. They posted this out of the blue. Now, usually when UFC posts like fights like this, they do it like in the build up to a fight, or like, oh yeah, free fight. If someone's booked, the champion's booked, they'll show this. Why are they posting this out of the blue? And it would be one thing if just posting Hamza versus Kamaru Usman free fight. They made the title Hamza Chimaev's hardest fight yet. This is propaganda. This is not just, oh yeah, well, let's just post this and title it Hamza's hardest fight for fun. I saw people in the comments saying, by the way, this wasn't even his hardest fight. He fought people like Gilbert Burns. And I'll be real, like, this was his hardest fight. Like, this was the hardest fight, like, as far as like win. Like, everyone knew that Burns lost that at the end of 3 rounds. Whereas people thought Usman and Hamza was a draw. Like, people thought Usman won the last 2 when they thought Hamza won the first round. You know, whereas I feel like Burns, he had this good second round, but the third round was a clear loss for Burns. I don't even know why people would think that fight was like, maybe Burns could have won it. Like, did you watch that? I watched that fight back, and I remember the third round, Hamza was actually putting the pace on Burns. Burns was breaking, but Burns would like explode into like a couple overhands that would like land on the shell of Hamza. But outside of that, the first round clear as day, third round clear. The second round, Burns had him because he dropped him. But this was definitely the hardest fight for Hamza Chimaev, because it was a fight that at the end of it, Hamza arguably lost the majority of the rounds. Neither here or there. Pushing out something like this today, for no reason, out the blue, is doing nothing but confirming that we know this fight's going to happen next. And what the UFC is trying to do is they're trying to slowly like start to get in our head. I know the UFC is really turning into like a popularity contest. And this is one of the instances I don't mind it. Like, of course, Usman's a way bigger name than fucking Michael Morales. The UFC let Khabib versus Usman get away because Khabib wasn't interested in moving up. The UFC seen that Islam moved up. There's a story behind this. There's just superstardom behind this. The UFC is slowly starting to push propaganda to gas up Usman to make sure we are excited for this fight. Now, I don't need any more exciting. I'm sure you guys in the comments like, dude, this is horrible. This is the worst day ever. This is great because for me, if Islam wins, he's the solidified GOAT. This is something that solidifies it. And for the people who says Usman's ass and Buckley is ass because Buckley was on a crazy winning streak and was ranked very high when Usman beat him, and they're just trying to cope about it, and they're trying to act like they never said that Buckley was going to school him before the fight. And all those people who are trying to like act like all of a sudden that, well, never mind, everyone sucks in my opinion. Morales is way better than Usman. I think it'll be funny after JDM beats Morales 1, and then I think it'll be pretty funny after Usman gives Islam his hardest fight at welterweight, because it's not hard to have a hard fight, give him his hardest fight at welterweight, because the one fight he had was Jack Della Maddalena, who had no defensive grappling and kind of got smothered. Yeah, kind of got smothered that entire time. Not going to happen with Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman has the best takedown defense statistically in UFC history before the Hamza fight. And Hamza's a better offensive wrestler than Islam as far as like how aggressive he is and how he can complete these takedowns. This is just a different situation for Islam. And I was looking at the striking in Usman's fight against Hamza, and Usman knows how to put it on. He was really putting it on Hamza when Hamza was slowing. He was actually putting the pace on it. Hamza had to do some desperation takedowns. You know, it's going to be a good fight. I think Islam versus Usman's good, you know. I think it's one of those fights like, they underrate Usman. You know, sleep on him, the doctor's going to wake them up. Shout out Jamal Hill, you know, this is an easy quote, brother. Usman versus Islam is happening, and I called it first. Like, I've been saying it should happen because it's the best thing for Islam's legacy. I don't think Usman's the most deserving. There's going to be people in the comments who misinterpret what I'm saying, and I'm not like, they're going to say I'm saying Usman's the most deserving. I'm not saying Usman deserves it more than anyone. I'm just saying Usman's the hardest fight for Islam. That's a fact. I'm also saying Islam gains the most from this on a statistic resume standpoint. Telling you guys, and it's gonna make sense when JDM beats Morales. I think for now they're gonna be like, but Morales is gonna destroy JDM. Sure, have your opinions now. I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, I know when the fights happen, a lot of questions are gonna be answered. This goes for both fights, for the JDM Morales fight, because everyone thinks Morales is unbeatable. Watch what JDM does to him. And then they think Islam's gonna smoke Usman. Watch how this fight goes. And I just want at the end of it, no matter the result, I want when people come back to me and like come back to these videos, they be like, holy shit, how did Kenny know so much? Brother, this is just another day in my life, brother. All my life, I know the truth. That's it for me, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this important news down below. God bless. 2, 3.